our show was much more woman-centered than what I have previously seen in the Star Wars world.
What are you talking about?
What makes you say that?
I'm all the Jedi.
Do you accept my challenge?
Howdy, friends. Hello to everyone who was just over on the watch party, and welcome back. So, all right, look, here's the deal. So this is how I want to do this. I used to do something called the Hangar Bay a long time ago, okay? I really enjoyed it. The Hangar Bay was basically where I invited members of the community to come onto the show and talk about, whatever it was that we just watched, get some varying opinions from different people about how they felt about the show, whatever the case may be. So I would like to do that again. I'm going to, this is the wrong overlay. Where is it? Boomer Council. Does everybody remember the Boomer Council show? That was a long time ago. I miss it. What's up, chat? I'm going to open it up today. I want people to come on. I want them to talk to me. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear how they feel about the episode. Let's get the full experience of what the Star Wars fandom is experiencing right now. That's what I want to do. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this link in the chat for you to come on. If I see one dick, it's over. Okay? I don't want to see one dick. I'm putting it in the chat. If you want to come on and say hi and talk about this episode, we can talk about this episode. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a run through of everything that we just saw, because of much there was plenty. Mike Hunt says I'm naked. I'm going to sit this one out. I appreciate that, bro. I really do. I appreciate it. I want to know what you guys are thinking. So like, I have obviously in my brain a video essay that I want to get out. And I think, unfortunately, I have to sit down and actually process everything, because here's the important thing, especially when you're commenting on something like Star Wars with how viscerally the fan base reacts. It's important to get your thoughts out in like a coherent stream. And right now, everything is a mess. Everything is a jumble. I don't know what the hell to say, because I don't really know where to start. Unfortunately, the God's honest truth is this is so far away from what Star Wars was that I almost can't be mad at it, because it's like, this is a completely different thing. This is like 2022 Star Trek, not Star Wars, if that makes sense. That's just what it feels like. It's all wrong. Grafweb for 2, he's been crying for years on this channel. Please, for F's sake, cancel Disney Plus. Thank you, brother. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Mike Porter says, I think it's like a version of Star Wars. I guess you're right. Maybe it's like some perverted version of what Star Wars might have been. Or not even might have been. How do you even say it? It's like some version of Star Wars. I don't know. Oh my God. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble right now. I know I'm going to get in trouble right now. But just solely off the profile pic, like, I feel like I have to bring this person in. Okay. The She Visor.
How dare all of this conversation about the Acolyte is the greatest TV. George Lucas didn't do nothing for Star Wars until Leslie Headland came in and fixed it.
What the fuck are you doing?
Did you at least watch the episode?
Oh, it was terrible. Shout out to Ronnie, by the way, for making the thumbnail. Or the
Did Ronnie make that?
Yep.
He graduated and now he's like, I got nothing to do. I don't know. I'll start making shit for the She Visor. So let's really talk about it though, because here's my question. Because I feel like this is important. And I don't feel like enough people are asking the question, does this legitimately break Star Wars?
So I think if you like, I legitimately think you've got to read into so many things to think it does everything that we were told it's going to do. But I do think it's just another mountain of evidence that the people in charge either don't know or straight up don't care.
Okay, but so here's my question. That is way too close. Let me bring that out. Wow. I'm sorry, everyone. Here's my question. We have now come across a coven of witches that is as powerful as what we consider to be one of the most powerful Sith to ever live, Darth Plagueis.
Right.
And they're just doing that shit for fun. They're hanging out somewhere on a planet and they're like, hey, I'm feeling a little lazy. How are you feeling? Like, yeah, I'm feeling lazy too. You trying to put a baby in me? And she's like, fuck yeah, let me pull some threads. I'm going to put a baby in that bitch.
Yep.
And just makes twins out of the Force. Now, the reason why this is problematic for me is less because, oh my God, like Plagueis was the only one that really figured out how to do it, is that this cheapens Anakin's birth ridiculously.
100%. Yep.
He was the chosen one, created by the Force, was originally
and
how it
once
started,
again, right? Plagueis didn't figure out how to do it. He got very, very close. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Got very, very close, and the Force freaked out to the point that they created Anakin. That it created Anakin.
Plagueis was making the Antichrist. The Force makes Christ. That's him, right? The great balance.
So, like, yeah. So the fact that it's not they figured out what to do. They figured out how to do what Plagueis did. They figured out how to do what Plagueis couldn't do.
Right.
Twice.
Dan V900 says, if you're fine with Dathomiri witches, then you should be fine with the episode outside of the one line saying the mother created the children and the one mother created. Yeah, okay. So here's my problem. One, I've never been a fan of the Dathomiri witches, ever. I understand that was a thing, okay? And look, one of my favorite expanded universe books is The Courtship of Princess Leia, in which I think that's the first time that we see the Night Sisters. We see the Dathomiri witches. I think that's the first time we see them. They ride like Rancors or something. It's been forever since I've read that book. Anyways, I don't like it. I think it's way too much of an offshoot from the shit that matters in Star Wars to start saying like, oh, by the way, now we've got 75 different fucking breeds of all female Dathomiri witches, and now we've got this coven of witches over here that are doing the same shit that like really intensely powerful Sith were doing. You have to realize that if there are only two, a master and an apprentice, right?
Right.
Something that Bane sets up. And also, by the way, doesn't this conflict with Tenebris and Plagueis being alive at this point in time?
I mean, yeah, it conflicts with. Well, so it depends. So I have not read more than the the Bane trilogy, but I mean, I'm aware of the Sith timeline. The point.
Yeah, so Tenebris would be alive at this point.
Yeah,
and
Tenebris
training
would be alive,
and
I think
training Darth Plagueis
should be alive.
Yeah.
I think it would be crazy to say that other dark Jedi who wanted to be Sith never popped
Dark
up during
Jedi. Get the fuck out of here with that.
During the 1,000 years between Bane and
who's teaching them to corrupt kyber crystals? Who's teaching them how to do all that?
Right.
That's
So
it's bullshit.
That's the issue.
All right, Steiner Math for 2 says I stand with Grafweb. Cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of surprised we got nobody from the chat that wanted to pop in and say something.
Well, I heard
I
heard there's a short man in here that wants to say something.
Well, I posted the link. I don't know what he did.
Oh, he's not very hip.
Oh, I invited Jay. He said I'm live on Geeks and Gamers. I haven't watched it yet. Lame. Look, here's the thing. I just honestly, I'm getting notifications on Twitter. I just watched Theory have a stroke. Please, can somebody just force choke the chick in the front row?
So my other thing is, so I am not I'm not really into Wiccan. I'm not into witches. I think witchery is dumb. But if you were going to make witches part of your story, would you not either at least hire some modern day witches or maybe go to a black mass and be like,
all right, so
hey, what
thing,
does your shit look like?
This is the thing, and this is something I was just talking. I had about 3 minutes on. I went over to WDW Pro's channel for a second and started talking about it. So Dave Filoni's wife, has admitted to being in a witch coven before. Yeah. Okay. So if you think for one fucking second that this doesn't have Dave Filoni written all over it, and by that I mean the woman who has his balls in a fucking vice grip, Dave Filoni's wife, I think you're completely mistaken. That's exactly what's going on here. So I was talking to another person who doesn't actually want me to say their name lest they be involved in some kind of controversy in which they're terminated from their job. We were talking about Dave Filoni today for about 15 minutes. And in 2018, when it was a women's convention, I don't remember what it was. And there he starts talking about the rules of storytelling. This motherfucker is not naked right now. Seriously?
Is that John?
You do these streams, Graber, with this beautiful setup, and then you come on my channel and you're naked sitting in bed.
Oh my god!
Again, right, he's finally got a shirt on. This is why I don't do Hanger Bay anymore.
What's wrong with you, John?
What's up? So how was it tonight? I won't watch. I won't. I don't care.
Why are you here if you didn't watch the episode?
Because I want to hear your thoughts. Was it that bad?
So bad.
Let's just say I am super duper excited for House of the Dragon on Sunday.
What? He's like, I want to come on and talk about the episode. He's like, I haven't seen it yet. Puts a shirt on after being naked and takes a swig of beer. Christmas, criminy. All right, anyways, Ted, how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
That was a very bad episode, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that chant they were doing, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
That was the best part of the episode for me.
Oh, God.
Because I knew at that point, nobody's going to take this shit seriously. Ain't nobody taking this fucking show seriously.
The power of many.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Pull the thread, pull the thread. I'm like,
pull my
bro,
thread.
What are we doing?
I was really hoping that what we were actually going to see. Well, so this is the other thing that I don't get. So we're supposed to sit here and believe that Is May the bad one?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Osha's supposed to be the good one.
Yeah.
May's supposed
So,
to be the bad one.
We're supposed to sit here and believe that May is taking revenge on the Jedi that killed her people.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
fucking killed them herself.
Correct.
Yeah.
What?
And what's your point?
It wasn't her fault.
Yeah,
It
it wasn't
was
her, but the Jedi made her set the fire.
It was the colonialist white Jedi.
I was gonna
The-
say this is like some dumbass saying I owe them money for the sins of maybe my
Yeah.
great grandfather.
Right.
Yeah, May's
Yeah.
a fucking nut job
The
for
Jedi
sure.
used their mind tricks and made May set the fire.
The most reasonable man on the internet, Mike Porter, says the yellow tree and the CGI bird was the best part of the show.
Oh,
I-
has
so
anyone
what
looked
I-
to see if which?
All right.
The
Hold on,
bird at the beginning.
Hold on.
Never
So,
mind.
this is the Village and Origin story episode for May, right? That's what this
Mhm.
episode is. Okay.
Yeah. Coker.
She takes a lantern, lights her sister's journal on fire, drops it on
Yeah.
the ground, and sets a fucking mountain on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't
Which
that
blows up
stone?
a reactor,
Uh-huh.
which kills all of the witches.
Yeah.
Am I to understand that that's what happened? Now, just for posterity's sake, I know what's going to happen. People are going to say, do you really believe that's what actually happened, or is that what the episode's trying to tell us and the Jedi are actually behind it? Because otherwise, why would that guy kill himself? You know what? I do think that's what happened. I legitimately think that's exactly what happened, and there's nothing else to read into.
The other problem is Star Wars is not Game of Thrones. Star Wars is not some puzzle to
Is it really?
solve. It's a straight-laced, well, not straight-laced. It's a facts-based story. And at no point throughout any of the Star Wars I've consumed over the last 29 years have I ever gotten basically, let's say, halfway through the story and been absolutely with no idea of what was getting ready to happen. The only twist in all of Star Wars that actually matters is I'm your father. That's it.
Yeah, hell of a plot twist, by the way.
Yeah. So why does every single television show, but why does every Star Wars project have to have 9 different twists that twist in on themselves and make you go?
They don't. It's
"Ooh."
called shitty writing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's people trying to recreate Game of Thrones is what it is.
Tim Stock
And
says, why
that
is Torben regretting his
dialogue-
past? None of this was his fault. So I think, if I'm being completely honest, and Kings, to your point, this reeks like Rian Johnson Last Jedi with the gotchas.
Yeah.
Do you remember in Last Jedi when it was like, ooh, he's dead. Gotcha. Oh, they're going to die. Gotcha. Oh,
Yep.
by the way, this happened. Gotcha. It was
Rose,
like every
Rose
fucking
with the
5
fall
minutes,
thing.
it was a gotcha. Every 5 minutes, it was a gotcha.
Mhm.
I think that's probably what's going on here. And so, are we going to find out that the Jedi actually were bad and blah, blah, blah? Like, yeah.
What
but
the Jedi
who
have
gives
been
a shit?
doing behind them? What were they doing out there? Were they going to sabotage the reactor so they'd to kill them all so they could take one kid? What is the point?
I mean,
it's very stupid.
white colonialists are
Yeah,
able
well,
to do so many different things.
Yeah,
You never
we
know.
don't need
Never
to
know.
know their reasoning.
This
Also-
is another attempt to destroy Yoda.
You didn't watch the show. He's
Yeah, I
naked in bed with a beer. He's like, I just fucking feel like talking, honestly. I don't know.
Well, you put him down the corner, maybe he'll fall asleep again.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then we'll have an incredible live stream.
yes, we will.
Making bets if he'll wake up or not.
Obi-Wan can blow me says they want to have that I am your father moment. Did you notice like all of the different moments that they tried to like take
Yeah.
from the prequel
Uh-huh.
trilogy?
That's all they
Mhm.
do is try to steal.
Well,
No,
this-
it's an homage.
Twins.
Remember one of the big problems that people had with Rings of Power was it felt like they were always trying to have that line that everyone's going to quote.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that little poem thing that the twins were saying near the
Oh
beginning.
my God!
That-
you
that
complete
was
me,
like-
or you make me one, or whatever.
Oh my god! What the fuck
I
is
make you-
that?
We make me
me
too.
make you we, or whatever.
Me fuck you long time. We he.
It was bullshit.
Oh
All
my
right,
god.
look, it's gonna be cute to some little set of twins out there. That's who they wrote this show for. Right?
Oh, also, I'm a twin. I have met many twins. We do not dress alike.
Well, what about your haircut?
Nope.
You
She
don't keep
has
the same
long hair.
haircut?
I do not.
Sundowners, I brought this up too. Like I did. And we talked about, she was part of a witch coven. Like, where do you think this shit is coming from? Why is it? Okay, I'm going to get very angry soon with this stuff because people aren't, I'm trying not to lose my shit, okay? But let's be completely honest here, okay? If you grew up in the early 2000s, did you not know the fucking weird chick in high school who was like, I'm not special because I'm not pretty or have big tits, and so I'm going to make myself special by being part of a witch coven? And you had the fucking, the Wiccans? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They always painted their shit black, and they're like, I'll cast a spell on you. Like,
My brother dated one.
dude, it's rampant for sure. And that is 100% in Star Wars now. And not only that, but they're like, the white women who are writing this shit are like, it's not good enough for me to say it. Let's make it as diverse as humanly fucking possible. And so they put, and by the way, like super overt, gnarly African themes in there, right?
Oh,
I mean, we're talking about like Maasai warrior head stamps, large flowing dreads. There was a whole scene of them dressing dreads. Like, it's a whole fucking thing. The number, okay, so Sundowners and I were talking about this earlier. What is the number one, the most important thing in storytelling? Know your audience.
Yeah.
Know your audience, okay? Even Kathleen Kennedy came out in a statement and said, women are having a really tough time in Star Wars because it's a male-dominated fan base. What the fuck am I missing here? What am I missing?
We're not the audience.
Yeah.
Am I retarded? And so that's what's going on. They know the audience that they want. It's not the audience that they have. They know the audience that they want. And so it's a continued attempt. Again, they're throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at attempting to replace the Star Wars fan base with a fan base that fits in with whatever they have to do for ESG or DEI to get the money that they need from the banks to make this shit. And it's not working. It's not working. It's just not working. And we're laughing going, hey, retards, it's not working. And they're going, we don't fucking care. We're going to keep doing it. And eventually you'll cave. And we're like, nah, it ain't like that. I'm not caving. Like, fuck this. It sucks.
Yep. I am exactly who they're trying not to pander to, and they haven't gotten my money in a long time. I will admit, I do pay for Disney Plus, but I have a granddaughter that has to watch that, so sorry about that.
I've got a young one too. She likes her Disney Plus.
Gotta have that. I'm sorry.
How long does the money last? That's the question. So I think a lot of people kind of felt like maybe when they were saying this is the one that ruins the goodwill of the Star Wars fan base, I think it's a deeper statement talking about people might just realize that they're not just misguided ideas. They're trying to do the right thing, but they're missing. I think this really is like people are starting to realize like they don't want you, bro. They want nothing to do with you. They don't give a shit if you make videos about it. They don't care if you review their toys. You're a white colonialist piece of shit. And get the fuck out of my Star Wars. This is purely for black lesbians now. Okay? That's it. That's who we're making the show for. And you know what? That would all be fine if it was done well. That's the thing that really upsets me, is that if this was done well, interject whatever the fuck you want in there. I don't care. Scissor your timbers away. I don't care.
Yeah, but
if it's a good story in the Star Wars universe, I don't give a shit who tells it or how it's done or whatever the case is. I don't care. I just want good stories in Star Wars.
Because they ain't watching it. The LBTGQ whatever's, they're not watching it either.
Even if they were all watching it, they don't make a big enough portion of the population.
They don't buy it. They don't watch it.
What I think is going
it's like
on
women
is
in the women's basketball.
This was a long and calculated decision to legitimately transform what the Star Wars fan base should be. That's what I think happened. This started small, and then it started moving up and up and up, and now we're getting to the point into the territory where it's like they didn't respond to verbal warnings, they didn't respond to pepper spray, then we moved to the taser, then we moved to the shotgun beanbags, and now they're not listening. Let's use lethal fucking force, and that's what the Acolyte is. This is lethal force. It's like get out of Star Wars. We don't want you here anymore. And now we're like, I'm still here, bitch. This shit sucks. You suck. Do something else. Change it, please. Bring it back. Do anything. Like bring the heart of Star Wars back. And I don't think it's gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. I have to race like a piss horse. Okay, I apologize, but I had
piss like a race horse.
Two big beers when I was watching. That's the joke.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I had 2 big beers when I was watching Acolyte, and like I have to get this out of me. So I will be right back. Kings, you're in charge. Formulate some nice, positive, forward-thinking questions about why you're problematic for not liking the show.
Oh dear. So we've got let's see, we got House of the Dragon this Sunday, and then the following week I think we have The Bear season 3, and then the following week after that is The Boys season 4. Ooh. So you've got 4 you've got 4 streaming services that have their own pretty big shows coming out this month. And I expect Disney Plus is going to be 4th place there.
Yeah.
In fact, The Boys comes out with like 5 days left in July or June, and I expect The Boys is going to be number 2 on the charts.
Oh yeah. House of the Dragon will be number 1.
House of the Dragon.
Yep.
But it's sad, really, because you've got, what has, since basically we watched Vader put on the helmet in Revenge of the Sith, there's one thing that a vast majority of Star Wars fans have asked for, and it's a Sith-based story, which is what the Acolyte should have been. It's not a Sith-based story at all.
No.
I mean, we've got 5 episodes left. Granted, that's a lot of time. 5 episodes left, and we have nothing's happened really.
Got no direction. No.
What are you talking about?
What's going on? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So this is the other thing that's annoying. There's got to be at least one more episode of flashback. So, 4th of your story you spent in the past. That's so annoying. Just tell the story.
Not for me. I think so. Dude, here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Their format works for me in a Star Wars show.
Okay.
The format works, right? You have somebody who has a motive in the future. You don't quite understand it, but early enough on in the story, you have a flashback as to why. So you learn the motives from the person in the beginning of the story. You learn why they're upset in the beginning of the story, and then you have a flashback that justifies the motives, right? The problem is that everything, the shit that they've written is so like 2 + 2 = 4, legitimately like basic as fuck, that it doesn't actually garner any interest. We already knew from the beginning, from what they said, from their motives, like why she's upset. We didn't need to go back in time to find out what was going on. Like, who gives a shit? We already know. Who cares?
I don't know. I'm a bigger fan of starting your story where it begins.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, shit. I'm trying to think of like parallels in the Star Wars universe where we might have had something and then had a flashback. Boba Fett, I guess, but I mean, talk about a bad example. Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. And we already knew at that point what was going on with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish I was mad. Does that make sense? I wish I was mad. I wish I was still emotionally invested enough in this to be like furious and angry and, oh, they fucked it up and blah, blah, blah. Like, they've ruined the Star Wars universe. But at this point, you know, as I measure my statements when I make the titles to my YouTube videos, when I put things on, you know, thumbnails, I'm not the guy who's just like, Star Wars ruined forever, and I put it on, you know, 84 different thumbnails about 84 different topics. You know, really, I have to think about it. Like, did they ruin the goodwill of the fan base? When I watched this episode, I think I realized that it wasn't that this episode ruined the goodwill of the fan base. I realized when I watched this episode, they had already ruined the goodwill of the fan base so much that people don't care anymore. They just don't give a shit. Because it should be outrage, but most people are like, yeah, it's fucking Disney.
And I think it opened our eyes. I think would be
sad
better
acceptance.
Yeah, I think it has allowed us to get past denial into whatever let's say. I think we jump started. Well, no, because denial is the first stage. So we jumped straight from denial to whatever, let's say 4 is, because I don't think we're quite at acceptance.
I've accepted 1,000%. Like I said, you know, I think this really all started with Dave Filoni. It started with Dave Filoni essentially saying that he was going to be the proprietor of George's legacy to Disney. You know, George would be gone. He made the excuse, which I still believe he meant truthfully. If he was involved, he would muddle it up too much and Disney would never get anything done because he'd be like, you're fucking it up, which, judging by what we've seen from Disney, is exactly what would happen.
Yep.
So, you know, I get he wants to involve himself from it, which is fine. Look, he gave us what we needed to love Star Wars. That's the bottom line. So in Dave Filoni, we had this false prophet. That's what I view Dave Filoni as. He was a false prophet. He took the teachings of George Lucas and said, I will carry on his legacy. And then whether it be the poison of this witch coven wife, like Star Wars is actually playing out in real life, the Filoni baloney ruined any opportunity we had. And to be fair, I think he does work in animation. I think Filoni can do stuff in animation when bridled with the responsibility of making a live action Star Wars show. He doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to create authenticity and realism in live action Star Wars that we crave from George, because George could handle it like no problem.
Do you think Filoni felt threatened by Favreau when Favreau showed up?
Hell yeah, 100%. He did. Because
the
Favreau
man
took
that created the MCU, absolutely.
Well, and look what happened in the first season of The Mandalorian. You know, Favreau captures the hearts of Star Wars fans everywhere and go, holy shit, this feels like 1977. What the fuck is going on right now? This is great. I felt that way when I watched the first season of Mandalorian. Did it have its problems? And I was like, yeah, but, you know, this is a corporatized version of Star Wars, but at least it has the look, the feel, the smell, the taste, everything that I want from Star Wars. And then
we were willing to overlook the problems.
Correct.
That's how I felt. There are problems in the prequel trilogy. I am willing to overlook those problems because overall I enjoy what I'm watching.
Yep. Yeah, and see, here's, the conversation. Look.
That was years later.
Yeah.
After he had already been corrupted.
Book of Boba Fett was a travesty. It was an absolute travesty. And I actually blame Robert Rodriguez more for Book of Boba Fett than I do Favreau. I know that Favreau wrote the show. Here's what I will tell you, and what I truly believe is that the Book of Boba Fett that Favreau wrote is not what we saw on screen at all. And I could be, I could just be, simping for Favreau, which is fine. Allow me to simp for him. But I've seen the rest of the movies that he's made and the storytelling that he does in his movies that are not controlled by Disney. And I'm like, there is no way that was the story he wrote for Book of Boba Fett. There's just no shot. There's no fucking chance. He was an original Star Wars fan.
He didn't write the Pee Wee Herman bikes.
You know what? He might have written a chase through, Mos Eisley. He might have written a chase, but it didn't fucking look like that. I can tell you that much.
It didn't have like sped up, Pee Wee Herman bikes.
The Dr. Seuss Vespas with 90 different side view mirrors. What the
Oh my God.
When have you ever seen a side view mirror on anything in Star Wars ever?
It's modeled after the 1950s hot rods that people used to drive.
It was in a
And
homage to George Lucas.
Yeah,
American graffiti.
Whatever.
With the spin move. Don't forget the spin move.
This is what happens when you get tourists in Star Wars. Unfortunately, that's what's gone. Everything has been hijacked by tourists.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I said earlier during the episode, I tweeted, I can't wait to watch the bots in the stands become full of Wiccans and witches and start justifying why X is better than this or why this is better than Y.
It's just bad. Look, I don't. So I think a lot more will come out of this conversation soon. I think I'm gonna make a video certainly talking about it once I organize my thoughts. I wanted to pop this up for the opportunity for anyone who actually watched the episode to come in and share their opinions on what happened. But I think this is gonna be a short one. We'll call this a 36-minute video instead of a 2-hour long stream. I am unfortunately required elsewhere at this point.
Okay.
I have to go make the press junket. I have to go talk to people.
The power of many compels you.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you guys why don't you give us a rating before we head out? Out of 10.
The episode or the show so far?
Do both.
1.
Okay.
1 and 1.2.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 2 overall because of the work of the set design and the music.
Yeah,
I've said it.
I'll give you that. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
It
everything looks good, and the music has a prequely feel to it, which I really like. Maybe other people don't.
It had a prequely feel.
They fucked it up in this episode. Honestly, yeah, we're 3 episodes in. So, anyways, I think that's where I'm at. So 1 overall, 2. I said 2 overall.
Oh yeah.
2 overall, just because I really do. I appreciate the little guys that nobody ever talks about. Nobody ever talks about the musicians
who are
the set
about
designers.
to enter a strike.
Oh, really?
Again?
Yeah, they might be striking soon.
Costume designers get a 0. Unfortunately, they're acting under marching orders, so they're kind of stuck. But yeah. All right. Well, let's end it. Let's go. We're done.
Thanks.
Everybody have a wonderful night. I will be ootin' a boot, and if you're looking for where I'm at, just check Twitter. I'll put something up on Twitter for where I'm at. I'm gonna be all over. So
yeah.
All right, everybody have a good night. Much love. See ya.
Yes.
Bye bye.